Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I'm going to share with you all of the books that made their way onto my Goodreads Want to Read list in the month of October. So I have, how many? Eight books that made their way onto my TBR. So the first one is Germinal by Émile Zola. This is a classic novel about the plight of miners. I believe it might also feature like a miners' strike. And I added this to my TBR because Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot had basically raved about it. He read it because Pauline from, I forget her channel's name, I will link it below, Dancing Along, that's the channel's name. She had led, I think, a read along of that book. So it sounded really, really interesting. Book number 2 is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This features a main character who works for some sort of like government department in charge of like magical children, in charge of their welfare maybe. But in any event, he gets this like strange assignment to go to an orphanage where 6 dangerous magical youth live. A gnome, a sprite, a wyvern, an unidentifiable green blob, a were Pomeranian, and the Antichrist. So it has magic in it, which I like. It sounds also very comedic, which I also like. And I heard about this book from Perry at Literary Niterary. She recommended this in a review a few weeks ago. I will link it below if I can find it. But it just sounded really good. Book number 3 is Premeditated Myrtle. This is the first in a middle grade mystery series called the Myrtle Hardcastle Mysteries. So Myrtle's father is a lawyer and her mother is a scientist, and so she's kind of armed with some knowledge of each of those fields, law and like forensic science, I guess. So she starts investigating crimes, and it just sounded like a really cute middle grade series. So the first book is about one of her neighbors who I think like breeds or sells like rare plants, rare flowers, and this neighbor is murdered, and so Myrtle is on the case, I guess. This was recommended by Kaylee from Books for MKs. I suggest following Kaylee if you want recommendations for kids' books. She does a lot of reviews for like middle grade books as well as picture books. So if you have kids in your life or you are a lover of middle grade books for yourself, then she talks about them a fair deal. Number 4 is The Shadow King by, I could not find a pronunciation guide for this author's name, so apologies if I mispronounce it. Maaza Mengiste, I'm going to say. Mengiste. I will make sure that it is spelled correctly in the description box. But this is a novel set during the 1935 invasion of Ethiopia by Mussolini. And I didn't even know that Italy had invaded Ethiopia. That's how much I don't know about Ethiopian history, I guess. So I do enjoy historical fiction, but I especially like historical fiction that goes beyond the historical setting and where I can learn something substantial about history. And I feel like this is going to be that kind of book. It follows at least one woman and maybe even a group of women, if I remember correctly, who take up arms during this time in Ethiopia. So I heard about this book from Sam at Paper Knot Books, and I will link her channel below, of course. Book number 5 is My Name is Leon by Kit DeWall. So this is about a book about Leon, who is in the foster care system with his infant brother, Jake. Jake is white, but Leon is black or mixed race, and Leon is worried that they are going to be separated because a white baby is going to be much easier to place in an adoptive family than an older child, especially one who is mixed race. So I suspect this will be very hard-hitting, but the premise just sounded really like something that I would want to read about. And this was recommended by Lauren from Lauren and the Books. So book number 6 is Destroyer by Victor LaValle. This is a graphic novel retelling of Frankenstein. It is set, I believe, in modern day, maybe in the future, but I believe it's modern day. And it features a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein, and she is conducting experiments to, I think, bring her dead son back to life. The original monster is also featured in the book, although I'm not sure how that plays in to the plot. And I am currently reading Frankenstein, and I would love to dive into some retellings soon after I finish the book because I'm really enjoying it. And this was recommended by Kat from Biblio Obscura. Book number 7 is Pelican by Émile. This is a poetry collection that explores grief, which is a topic that I am very, very interested in. I've also kind of gotten back into poetry this year. I hadn't really been reading much of it the last few years, so I've been really enjoying almost all of the poetry collections that I've been reading and been recommended this year, so I'm kind of I guess eager to keep up that momentum and to keep picking up poetry collections, and this one sounded like one that I would enjoy. And I heard about this collection from Jen Campbell, who I'm sure you all know, but if you don't, I would highly recommend her channel, and she does talk about poetry quite a bit. So if you're looking for poetry recommendations, definitely check out her channel. And the last book that I added to my TBR during the past month is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. So this is the first in like an epic fantasy series called Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. And I'll admit that I knew zilch about this book. It's on my TBR because Rick McDonald is hosting a read-along in like, I think from January to April of next year. I will link his announcement video below so you can check out and kind of keep up to date for all of the details that he'll be talking about later on. But yeah, so he's hosting a read-along of this trilogy, and he was so in love with the series of books and like so very excited for people to discover them and read them, and his enthusiasm in that announcement video was just completely contagious, and it's been forever since I picked up like a high fantasy or like epic fantasy series, so I am 100% in the mood for it. So excited when I heard about this read-along, especially about a fantasy series I know absolutely nothing about. So yeah, I'll post that video below and you should check it out. It's only like 4 minutes long, and watch it and see if you don't also catch some of that enthusiasm watching Rick gush about these books. So those are the 8 books that made it onto my TBR during October. I hope that you've all been discovering books that you're excited to read as well. And thank you as always for watching, and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.